All right. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. We're going to go ahead and get started since we do have quorum. And if anyone joins in, we'll just, admit as they come along. But so before we do anything, I'm just going to put the meeting agenda in the chat. And the first thing that I wanted to do was, well, first we need to do roll call, but I want to check with Daniel. Are you ready to take minutes, Daniel?
Yeah, I have them to the side at the moment.
Okay, great. So we'll do a roll call. So I'll just go down the list. Daniel?
Here.
Violetta?
Here.
Dr. Plunkett?
Here.
And Sochi?
Here.
And Rachel is here. So 5 of us are here. This is added to the agenda, but I wanted to make a motion to amend the agenda just because it wasn't added. The approval of the March minutes wasn't on the agenda before yesterday. And so just because it was not 48 hours, just wanted to make sure. So I was going to make a motion to amend the agenda to add an approval of March meeting minutes.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank
motion.
you. So then we can approve the March meeting minutes, which I'm going to also, if you didn't get a chance to look at those, I'll also put that in the chat. That's going to be another roll call to approve those minutes. So we'll just go down again if everyone's ready, or if anyone has any comments about the minutes. No? Okay, then Daniel?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay, Violetta?
Yes.
Dr. Plunkett?
Yes.
Sochi?
Yes.
And Rachel is also a yes. So that's 5 out of 5. Approve those minutes. Okay. And then the next thing to approve is the agenda for today. I guess maybe we should have done that before.
Yeah. Well, I'll make
Um,
a motion to approve the agenda.
Great, thank you. And I'll second. Or Violetta will second. I don't know if I can second.
You can.
You can. Okay, I can. Okay. Well, Violetta seconded. So roll call again. So to approve the April 22nd agenda, Daniel,
Yes.
Violetta,
Yes.
Dr. Plunkett,
Yes.
Sochi,
Yes.
and Rachel is a yes. Okay. So we'll keep going. I think that the next item on the agenda was attendee introductions. I think we all know each other. But I do want to just go around super quick since there's so few of us and just we know who we are, but just basically it is April 21st and I kind of wanted to do a quick check-in with everyone. So we'll do one quick check-in question. And it may seem kind of silly, but I think it's relevant. I like thinking about it. So what is your favorite spring flower? That is the question. And you can be as specific or as not specific as you would like. And I'm going to, and then, so if you go, pass it to the next person that has not gone yet. I'm going to go first, I guess. But I'm very basic and I like tulips. I will pass it to, I'll pass it to Sochi to start.
I'll say my favorite spring flowers are morning glories, because they like to bloom in the morning and then they hide again towards the evening. So it's always so nice, a good thing to wake me up in the morning and then to see if they're out there. So, Rachel, there's people waiting to be let in.
Oh no,
And
I can't see them. Dr. Plunkett, can you see anyone in the waiting room by any chance?
I can look and see. Let me see.
I'm sorry. Thank you,
I think
Carol.
Dr. Plunkett can
waiting room,
also
okay, I see it. It's, you know what, my screen is, okay. Yeah, I'll admit, Erica Carly and Dora Bussey. Okay. They're admitted.
Thank you.
I'll pass it to Daniel.
Mine would have to be roses, just because my family has like some roses planted, and my mom's name is Rosa, so it's just roses in Spanish. So roses are my favorite. And I'll pass it on to Dr. Plunkett.
So I don't know if this is necessarily a spring flower, but I really like sunflowers. So I don't know that it's a spring flower, but I like sunflowers. And as someone once said to me, like, they got me sunflowers for whatever event it was, I don't know, birthday, whatever. And I said, what makes you think I like sunflowers? And then I realized I have a bunch of pictures of sunflowers all over my house. So,
Oh,
and I will pass it to Violetta.
I'll also say tulips. I'll pass it to Cassie.
I think like, especially for spring, the magnolia trees are pretty great. You know, trees don't usually look like that. So, Ms. Lalagan?
I would have said magnolia trees as well, the flowers on there, but it's a close tie with daffodils. I love the daffodils. And let's see, Carol?
Thank you. My favorite is pansies because you can plant them first and they withstand the frost and cold. So that's the first time you can put color outside. And I will pass it to Roberto.
he may be having mic issues.
Yeah, he said that earlier in the chat, so I'm not sure if he's still having me.
Can you
Okay,
hear me?
I will.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Hi, Carol. Thank you so much for passing it on to me on this popcorn. So my favorite, I don't know if it's a spring flower, but hydrangeas. So that's my daughter's favorite, and so I've adopted that. And I will popcorn that over to Dora Bussey.
Yep. Hi. Someone probably saw this already, but tulips are my favorite.
You can't beat them. Okay, great. Well, thank y'all for indulging that. I know it took a little bit of time, but I just really am enjoying the flowers right now. So the next item on the agenda is meeting reports. And so the first item is going to be a presentation from Dr. Plunkett about the CIWP. I don't know, Dr. Plunkett, if you want to take it away.
Let me try, and I'm going to try and present my screen. Hoping all goes well here. Hang on. Okay, so hang on. I'm sorry, I've got a lot open here. Shoot, hang on. Let's see. I'm just trying to get down to the present thing at the bottom of my screen and I can't. Okay. Share screen. Okay. And one participant. Can you, hang on. Let me try again. So Rachel, I'm trying to share my screen and it's just nothing's coming up. Like share. Oh, wait. You know what? It could just be my button on my computer. It didn't register. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All righty.
All right.
Okay, you guys can see it now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so hang on. Let me get over so I can, give me one more minute here. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just trying to get into present mode. All righty. So this is what I know there's a lot of concern, especially because of new LSC members aren't aware of the CIWP. And when it was brought up, I don't know, 2 meetings ago maybe, that the Health and Safety Committee should look and see what's in the CIWP as they look to move their work forward so that the work that they do is in line with that. And also, if there are things that maybe aren't in the CIWP, as everyone may or may not know, the CIWP is a working, living document. It can be tweaked and changed at any time. It goes into your cycles. And so this is the 2020-2022 cycle that we're in. So last year at the start of the cycle, we had to assemble a team, and the team for writing the CIWP is made up of different stakeholders: parents, teachers, students, and administration. And just to go over a little more details of our team, we had, through the ILT, department chairs were asked to find a representative from the respective department to serve on the committee. So what happened was we ended up with representatives from the science, math, English, social sciences, diverse learners, and the ELL department, that's English language learners. I know we don't have a huge population of ELL learners at our school, but and as a matter of fact, the majority of our ELL students are in our diverse learners cluster program. All right, hang on. So, and the parents were asked to serve by, we asked the LSC and Friends of Jones to put a call out to parents that would be interested. Emails were sent out to parents last spring to see who would be interested, and we had some parents join the team. Also, we had some student government representatives join us. They, some of them have graduated. Some of the people who joined us had graduated already in June of 2020. And then, like I believe 1 or 2 of them may still be around as seniors this year. Administration in general, Mr. Mitchell, Dr. Fay were involved like kind of on the sidelines, but the regular attendees and participants were myself and Dr. Powers. So before COVID happened, we were having in-person meetings, and we were meeting on Wednesdays, every other Wednesday, to kind of look at data and set up our plan for creating our CIWP. So we started off in February of last year, and then we ended up having to move virtual in April. And then we had to also present, and there were, we presented to the LSC a couple different times, our plan in progress and then our final plan. So our steps in creating the CIWP, the first thing you need to do is you need to gather data, school data. And so that was primarily me. Some of the other stakeholders, some of the teachers helped with that. But that was primarily me, and we got it from many different sources, from CPS, from our SQRP, from our 5-year vision metrics. And then we examined the data, and then we had to look at the school excellence framework and rate our school within that based on the data. After we did that, the team together sat and identified areas of critical need. And when we looked at those areas of critical need, we set goals of what we wanted to improve. And these two, like, they didn't happen, how do I want to say it? They didn't happen in isolation from each other. We also did a root cause analysis to see what were the reasons for our areas of critical need. Why were these areas of critical need for our school? And then we set priorities in our school excellence framework. And the priorities, they're all priorities. They're not, I know they're each given a number. That's the way the CIWP is created, but the number has nothing to do with the rank. They're not numbered out of importance. They're just numbered area 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how they are. And then we worked on strategies, theories of actions to address our priorities and goals. And then we created action steps for the strategies. Okay. Then and I kind of talked about this a little earlier, the SQRP data was used, and that's provided by CPS. Our vision metrics data, CPS has a 5-year vision, and there's lots of metrics in that that the team looked at. We also looked at our 5 essentials survey. And the 5 essential surveys, I'm not sure if everyone knows, but there's a parent component, a teacher component, and a student component. And then the teachers help facilitate a faculty and staff survey as well. So just to kind of let you see where we are here, and this is all in the presentation. So we put our goals here on the side. So I don't know if you can see, this was our 2021 goal, and this is our 21-22 goal. So these were metrics that we looked at. We looked at our SAT cohort growth percentile. So we looked at our growth of different groups, different priority groups. So our, oh, sorry, I did not mean to do that. Oh, shoot, hang on, give me a second. Just give me a minute here, I'm sorry. Just, I gotta go back here, hang on. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. I don't know how I got off that screen. Can you guys still see my screen? Because I can't see it. Can you guys still see it?
We
Yes, we can still see
can.
it.
Okay, I don't know, I can't, so I was just like wondering what was going on there. Okay, well, that doesn't matter. As long as you guys can see it, that's fine. So if you look, like our free and reduced lunch eligible, their growth was only 39%, while the overall growth for the school was 61%. So we looked at that and thought, okay, there's a discrepancy here between our overall student growth on the SAT and those students who are eligible for free or reduced lunch. And then we also looked at attendance rate, and this is something that we are looking to improve. So our school year 19 data, we were at a 91.3 attendance rate, but we also wanted to hone in on our African-American attendance rate because that was only at 88.4. And then another vision metric was our AP exam score. So African-American, and these were the 2 groups we chose to focus on, were the African-American students. They were at 82.4 success rate. And then our students with IEPs were only at a 42.9 success rate. And that was not, like, that does not include our cluster students in our cluster program, our severe and profound or moderate cognitive, because they would not take an AP exam anyway. That includes our students with IEPs in our high incidence program in the general education program. So those were areas where we chose to focus and set goals. And then we came up with some custom metrics because, you know, we felt like that the SQRP and the 5-year vision metrics kind of really locked us into very, very strict guidelines. And we know that there's some things in our school that maybe weren't necessarily measured by that. And not that they didn't have anything to do with those numbers, but we felt we could maybe address it more intentionally through some custom metrics. So one metric we had was the number of times the MTSS team formally created meets during the school year. And this was so we were going to measure it by in 2020 and 2021, 8 times. And, these were how we're going to measure as we move forward. Our 5 essential survey that we were going to send out under the category of instructional leadership communicates clear vision for our school. We wanted that number to go to 60, 70, and eventually 80%. 80% of the people surveyed would say agree and strongly agree. And we also wanted to increase parent completion rate of the 5 essential survey. Last year, when we were creating this, there was not enough parent response to even for them to even share data with us about parent responses. So we're really working on getting the word out and getting parents to do that. And normally we would, ask parents to do that during the 3rd quarter report card pickup. So of course, the data that we would have gotten last year would have been through the report card pickup from the previous year. And then we also wanted to increase teacher completion rate of the 5 essentials survey. And then the relational trust, focus on teacher administration. And we wanted to also increase that between 40, 50, 60%. So there are school effective excellence framework priorities where each of these falls. So the MTSS, that falls under the category of depth and breadth of student learning and quality teaching. The second one, the instruction, falls under depth and breadth of student learning and quality teaching. The other one falls under leadership and structure for continuous improvement. And then the last one falls under the category of relational trust, falls under quality and character of school life. And as I said before, these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, they are not ranked in any order. That's just how they ask us so we can identify them. So as we went through this, series of actions were created to address all of these priorities. Currently, the leadership checks in on progress and monitors progress during leadership team meetings. The leadership works to update the CIWP document. This is a working, living document, so sometimes something may change. Updates can be made at any time, but like as we're doing the check-ins, we update like, oh, this is where we're at now, this is where we're at, and then we can go back and say, okay, well, we completed something. It wasn't completed last time we looked at this, but it's completed now. So in general, the leadership checks in on different aspects of the CIWP progress, both formally and informally, during some of our leadership team meetings. These were days when we looked at things and checked in and discussed our action items, our theories of actions, and what we're going to do to move forward, just so everyone knows. So just to go through, and so theories of action strategies are somewhat synonymous within the CIWP. So our first theory of action, and this was to address our first priority area. So, and a theory of action, it's like, if we do something, then we see something that leads to something. So we're always going to have this, this same pattern. So for theory of action, I mean, you can read this yourselves, but if we intentionally and purposely implement a process for selection of members of the MTSS team, which is a diverse cross-section of our faculty, and dedicate pay or prep time for MTSS members, the team can work with the administration to establish a clear referral system. If we do that, then we see increased efficiency, engagement, and direction of the team, increased likelihood that the team will meet more often and be more committed to the referral process, which in the end leads to improved SAT cohort growth for the overall and free and reduced lunch eligible students, improved attendance rates for overall and also specifically for our African-American students, and improved AP exams for African-American students and students with IEPs, and will also increase the number of times the MTSS team meets during the school year. So action steps for this, we're to recruit and establish a team. The team's going to create a referral system. The MTSS referral system has to be implemented. We're going to continue to meet monthly, bi-weekly to go through referrals to implement appropriate interventions. The CIWP monitors successes, struggles, and needs on an annual basis. The administration will meet with the MTSS team on a quarterly basis to assess needs and provide assistance. So our progress check-in under the theory, under the theory of action, I'm sorry, I gotta go back. Under the theory of action 1. So the team was recruited and created June 2020. And this year was, you know, unlike, and we always say this year was unlike any other year. So there was some hiccups in that, but June 2020, we created a team, recruited teachers from the school. We did meet in June, and in September we met. A referral form was set up and was planned to be sent to faculty, but then we decided to wait and tweak the form until progress reports to allow teachers time to do classroom interventions before referral of students. And this is something that was a little bit tricky this year, is MTSS can get conflated because of students not engaging in school in relationship to the remote learning environment. So that was kind of tricky because if someone's not engaging, then we can't do interventions. But sometimes if someone's not engaging, we can find out why they're not engaging and then do the intervention. So it kind of added a little bit of a extra step to our process. So the referral process and plan was completed and sent out to teachers on November 12th. Regular meetings were held from June 2020 to January 2021. In December of 2020, plans are created. We check in with teachers, families, and students for student support. So that was where we are on that one. Our second theory of action, and I know I'm kind of whipping through this, and you know I can answer a few questions at the end. So the second theory of action, if we do explicit and intentional broadcasting of meeting times and objectives of the student government, the PPC, the PPLC, and the ILT, and we develop formal process by which concerns of students and staff are brought to these groups in the administration, and then explicitly share the meeting minutes with everyone. We'll see an increased awareness within these forums to communicate issues, which will lead to increased teacher-to-teacher, teacher admin trust, and that will increase our rating on the 5 Essential survey. So where we are there, Google invites are sent for all meetings, and there are Google folders that contain all the documents and minutes for all the meetings that are available to all the faculty and staff for, so PPC, PPLC, and ILT are, would be teacher-based. The school leadership used a survey to collect information from students and families regarding remote learning experience. As a result, we came up with Eagle Days. ILT meetings, PPLC, PPC, and SGA occur on a regular schedule, and calendar invites are sent to participants. And in the remote learning environment, these are all held via Google Meet. So action steps, those were our action steps. And I'm sorry, the slides, I think they got mixed up in my transfer over. Okay, so we did announce all the meetings. Our third theory of action was, if we do regular acknowledgement of praise of current best practices for course team collaboration and structure the yearly PD schedule to allow for collaboration within and across course teams, then we'll see discussions among staff about our best practices. We'll see increased engagement and buy-in from students and more differentiation in instruction, which is going to lead to, and this all goes back to our goals from our SQRP and our 5-year vision metrics, the improved SAT cohort growth, improved attendance, improved AP exams, and an increased in that relational trust area, and also an increased usage of the MTSS referral process. So our action steps needs to address assessment to address staff PD needs, plan PD around central themes identified by our needs assessment, and form a team that meets regularly monthly to plan and facilitate PD. End of year assessment on staff PD to evaluate staff needs after the year. And then also plan our 2021 PD around the central themes identified by the needs assessment. So where we are on that. So the Jones administration consulted and contracted with MICVA. I know so a lot of students may be familiar with MICVA Challenge program. And the topics covered were creating democratic classrooms. That was a general theme, and we had 3 sessions: building community and developing empathy, engaging in courageous and critical conversations, and then how to shift power and analyze power dynamics. And it's our expectation that teachers will continue to use the resources provided by MICVA throughout their instruction in their classes. Then this is just a continuation because we did a lot on this. The Jones administration also consulted with Davis Squared Consulting to provide faculty and staff PD focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And these are the topics covered. We're kind of in this cycle right now. So as you can see, racial equity foundation, the history of race, understanding systemic racism, maintaining white supremacy, combating implicit bias, and anti-racist school culture. So right now we're a little bit more than halfway through our sessions for this year with Davis Squared, and we will continue our work with Davis Squared in the 21-22 school year that's already being set up. And then another thing, the administrative team committed and participated in a 10-week course offered by Bright Morning consultant Elena Aguilar. She's the author of the book Coaching for Equity. And it met weekly. Of course it was virtual, but it met weekly. And you can just see a lot of the topics that were covered, very similar to what Davis Squared talks about, and a little bit similar to what MICVA talks about, but it talks about, it was more focused on leaders and was for school leaders and district leaders, and coaching around the idea of getting rid of the white supremacy. Then our 4th theory of action, and this kind of goes along with the other one. If we develop the whole staff professional development meeting schedule, make it a clear bank of protocols and resources available to teachers, emphasize professional development on equity issues, including racial, socioeconomic, diverse needs, and others. And special attention needs to be given to implementation of anti-racist education for students and profession for faculty and staff. Then we will see more opportunities to explicitly communicate the administration's goals, more opportunities for staff to participate in shaping the goals and vision of the school. And there'll be an increase in teacher collaboration, which is going to lead to improvement in our goal of communicating a clear vision. Rating on the 5 essential survey, increase the teacher administration trust, and increase teacher trust, and improved SAT and overall growth. And there were the action steps. Again, I switched the slides on accident. And that is it. So if you have, I'm going to stop sharing now. And so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. As Rachel did put in her email, if they're really long, lengthy discussion questions, I am happy to answer anyone's questions. But as we're exchanging in emails, that for the sake of efficiency, we really want to try and keep our meetings to, a reasonable time so that, people are able to really participate in this work, right? And be productive in it. So I don't know if there's any questions, comments.
One thing I do, just unrelated to that, I was wondering, Dr. Plunkett, if you could check the participation list. I just don't, because I can't see if anyone's trying to get into the meeting or not.
I did let in a couple meetings, let's see, I did, let me look, let me look again. When I saw someone trying to get in, I let them in,
Okay.
so I think, I don't
I
think there's
figured you would be.
anyone, I don't think there's anyone, I don't think there's anyone waiting right now.
Cool, cool.
It doesn't say
Um,
waiting anyone, so I think everyone's in.
Okay, great. Does anyone else have any questions? Daniel?
Yeah, so Dr. Plunkett, is there like is there, I'm looking for the word, how can like students or like stakeholders like parents and teachers view like how the courses are going? Because I remember Mr. Mitchell in his like weekly emails mentioning how all teachers are going through this training at the moment, but I haven't really heard that much on that front anymore. And I wasn't aware that administration was going through their own trainings and learning as well. So is there like any way that we can know about it?
So, Daniel, if any student or any stakeholder have questions, they can come and ask us. So the administrator, the one we did with Elena Aguilar, that took place in the summer. It was a 10-week course, and there's a book and everything, and we can talk about that if people have particular questions. If you wanted like another presentation on that, that's something that could be done. But I think like the scope of that question is like too much for this meeting, just to get into the weeds of that. But I think Dr. Powers, myself, Mr. Mitchell, Ms. Gonzalez Torres was not part of our leadership team at that time, so she wasn't part of that. Dr. Fay was, but I think we can definitely look into that. And that was the one that the administrators did, was centered in a lot of in coaching for equity. So equity for leadership teams. So which was more of that, whereas the Davis Square, what we're doing with Marcia Davis, that like all the teachers are participating in that during professional developments, like on the days, the Eagle Days, when you guys finish your class a little bit earlier during professional development time. So yeah, happy to share that. I know we have all of the information from what we've done with Davis Square. I think Mr. Mitchell was going to post that on the website. I don't know if it was posted yet, but I know he was going to do that. So that is something we can look, but also like, I think that might be an opportunity for us to maybe present to the students so the student knows. I mean, maybe I know student government likes to set up a lot of meetings and stuff. Maybe we could ask the student government to set up their like town hall where they could invite us to speak on what the teachers, like what the professional development the teachers are participating in. I think that might be a good idea, because I think we have a great group of teachers, but I think sometimes like there's so much going on in high school and we're remote, and there's just so much going on that sometimes stuff gets lost and the message doesn't always get delivered. So I think that would be a good opportunity.
Yeah,
Dr.
thank you
Plunkett,
so much for that. I was just saying that, sorry, Roberto. I think that I totally agree, like having either a town hall or just putting it again in Mr. Mitchell's weekly emails, or just putting it on the website, because I think information like this is good for the students to know, and good for the community to know that people are trying and all that, just to like have boost morale sometimes. But thank you.
Yeah, no, and I agree, Daniel. Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes it's on there, but the website, but sometimes people don't know where to find it, right? So maybe Mr. Mitchell can just send out a weekly email and just put the link in the email so students can click it directly, because I'm pretty sure he put it on there. So that might be, I'll just ask him, or I can even do it, but to send out a weekly update saying, hey, just a reminder, here it is, because I see that Kathy Cresswell just put that the topics for each of the ones are on the Jones website. She just put it in the chat, which I thought they were on there, but I don't have the Jones website pulled up in front of me. So yeah, and
it's
we
at
can
the
just
first
send,
link.
yeah. We can
Sorry,
just,
Miss Dr. Plunkett.
that's okay. So we can just send a reminder that it's up there so everyone knows. Okay, I think Miss Gonzalez Torres, were you going to say something, or was that?
I was just gonna concur with Caswell that it is already on our website, and
Okay,
it breaks it down, and there's not only just the short version of it, but there's also the recordings of the entire training. So I sat and went through all of it, so I know
Okay.
it's there.
okay, great. And then I think, I know, Rachel, you're kind of in charge, but I see Roberto's hand up. Is it okay just to call on Roberto?
Totally.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Plunkett. I was wondering, you showed in your presentation like a metric, some sort of metric resource tool that you use. So is that tool available to the public? Is it available to the LSC? And the reason
So
I'm asking is
Are you
because
talking about the 5-year vision metric or the SQRP?
there was something where you pulled down where it's like FRL and the goals that
Yeah,
you want to meet.
Yep. So I know that it was available, like the SQRP is, there's a SQRP for every school, and that's public. I mean, that's public information. The SQRP is public for every school. I know that the 5-year vision metrics were public last year. I'd have to look on because they were from last year. I'd have to look on and that was all, the data we had available last year at that point in time when we created this. So we will have to go back to, I'd have to look on the CPS website, but I'm pretty sure the 5-year vision metrics are still up there. And I think they're up there for the whole district. It's not, it's not just Jones, but I don't know if they're available to the public. But I know the SQRP should be available to the public.
Okay, and just to clarify, the 5 vision metrics, if it is available to the public, you can drop down by
Yeah,
school.
yeah. You go by school. I mean, it's a very very complex tool. You can pick the metric, you can pick the school, you could pick the network. It's very, and so you can compare your school to similar schools. It was a very complex tool to use.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that because I've been working with the University of Chicago and pulling data from ISB as well. So I didn't realize that there was a district tool that I could be using as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just ask a question if that's all right. Well, I want to say thank you, Dr. Plunkett, for giving that presentation. And so when I reached out initially asking about the CIWP, I think I was kind of really intimidated by the document because it's not the easiest to read, especially if you don't understand like that it's kind of CPS has like input and then you click a button and then it kind of produces. And so just like from an LSC member's perspective, I guess I was like, I wanted to bring it to this committee to talk about just to see if there's a way for the document to kind of be more legible, especially for like the school community. And I know that like as LSC members, we're kind of expected to be kind of a part of that like legibility process per like, the things that we're asked to do. And so I guess just like thinking about, moving ahead, if there's a way to kind of just like break down like you did in the presentation, like, but break down that document kind of for
Rachel, yeah, I hear you. And even as a person who's been dealing with, even when I was a teacher, it wasn't called CIWP, it was called the SIPA, the School in Improvement Plan. And I mean, it was always this very complex, cumbersome thing. And I remember having binders and binders full of information. Now it's all digital. So it is very cumbersome. It has so many layers to it that for a person this isn't their area of expertise, or, they're not in the school, it can be really hard. So, and even as we're working on it, you do have to break it down, and it's very, because it can become overwhelming. And even if you go to the downloaded PDF version of the document, it's still kind of hard and it's still cumbersome. So yeah, if I were asked, Rachel, if you or anyone wanted, I would be happy to present to the LSC. No one has ever officially asked me to present the CIWP, what we have to the full LSC. So I would definitely be happy to do that. And it is the plan to continue to monitor the CIWP and make changes, or tweaks. It's not really, full on changes, but just, tweaking where things need to be tweaked and making adjustments. And full disclosure, I was hoping to have gathered everyone in January to do this, but as you all know, I had my own personal issues that I was dealing with and could not get the team together at that time. I had to take care of my family. So like, I'll own that, but it's not that it's been forgotten or anything.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. For sure. Want to be cognizant of that. And yeah, no, I'm just glad that we're able to just kind of talk through it, and it feels even less intimidating now that you've kind of given that presentation, and we're talking about it as a group. And so yeah, I mean, we can talk more about that, but that's basically for me really helpful to just walk through it. Before we move on, does anyone else have any questions? I do want to
Rachel, I think Roberto has his hand up again, unless he just didn't put it down from before.
Is that a stale hand, Roberto? It's a stale hand. All right.
Okay.
If no one else has any questions right now, hopefully we'll keep talking about the CIWP. But I do want to get to just the update. The next item on the agenda, which is the whole school safety plan spring update. If that's all right with everyone to move on. But I also want to say thank you again to Dr. Plunkett for walking us through that. Okay, so I'm just gonna link this presentation in the chat. Here we go. The Chief of Safety and Security, Jadine Chu, I think is how you say her. Chow, thank you. She gave a presentation as part of CPS's Ask the Expert series on April 9th. And there was a lot of information, and it's very relevant to LSC members. We have a pretty big responsibility, I think, when it comes to school safety, where I'd be basically being asked by the district to make a really important decision. And so I just kind of summarized that presentation. I'll go ahead and share my screen. I won't go through the whole presentation in super big detail, but let me just, sorry, Dr. Plunkett, do you mind giving me screen sharing capabilities?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, it's
Hang on. Wait, hang on. Let's see. How do I do that? Let's see. I go to participants, Rachel. Make host, put in. Oh, I'll make you the host. Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Okay, great. I'm sharing my screen. Can y'all see this? Okay.
Yes, you're good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really hard to do this. Okay. I'm not going to go through this in super explicit detail or anything, but I just wanted to kind of give everyone on the committee a chance to reflect on where the district says that schools should be at, especially as the LSC prepares to think about safety plans. And so last summer was a pretty transformational summer for CPS with respect to safety. The SRO budget was slashed from $33 million to $15 million. That's a false number in the first box. That should be 15 million, not 12 million. So that's a factual error. But the Chicago Board of Education, I guess, refrained from making the decision for all schools across the district and said that no, we're actually going to punt it to LSCs and to make a decision based on what the school community decides. And so that is, over the following year, from last August to now, that is what the district has been trying to position every school to do. which is basically give them the resources to think about safety and think about like alternatives to safety that may or may not include school resource officers. So that's kind of this past winter and spring. The district chose 5 community organizations that facilitated 10 community engagement sessions. I know that Roberto was at like all of these. I went to a couple of them, but they were pretty informative. But they were all kind of structured around thinking about alternative options for safety for schools that chose to retain their officers, or and also for schools that chose to remove the officers or end the program. And so this is the spring timeline. And so you can see that each school is going to form a whole school safety committee, and that's going to be comprised of school stakeholders, such as administration, faculty, students, and community members. And so Dr. Powers has told me that I'm going to be on the committee and that there are going to be students on the committee, faculty on the committee, administration on the committee. And so this committee is going to be for the purpose of thinking through safety at Jones. And so as an LSC member, I feel like pretty compelled to get as much feedback and just kind of use school community feedback as the like, just evaluative as opposed to just, personal or like personal opinions about school safety. And so with that in mind, I kind of wanted to just break down the differences between student resource officers, CPS security officers, and part-time off-duty officers, because there are 3 different categories for officers working in high school buildings and also in elementary school buildings. And this is something that was unclear to me, and the safety and security chief really clarified it for everyone, which I really appreciated. And so you can like look at this presentation on your own time, but those are the main like concern for some people was that school resource officers don't receive school specific training, which is something that CPS security officers and part-time off-duty security officers that are employed by CPS do receive. And so then this is kind of like a what happens if, and this is pulled directly from that video or that meeting that was recorded. And then this is the additional school safety supports that the district is going to provide. I think that the district really wants to, this was kind of what Jadine Chow said at the very end of her presentation, which really compelled me to make this presentation, was that she said, we really want to involve students in this conversation. And so right now, we're asking LSCs to invite students to give their opinion and give their perspectives on school safety, and kind of putting those into the conversation and soliciting that before making a plan and voting on a plan in the summer. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. But that's kind of where the whole school safety plan, whole school safety committee situation is at. And so, yeah, does anyone have any questions about that?
Rachel, I just wanted to add in that, and Daniel, I believe you were part of the committee too with Dr. Fay before he left, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So I know, like, we had kind of started this, and then Dr. Fay left for his new job. But I know that it definitely is in the works. So I just wanted to share that, and it's just like I said, it's just been a really crazy year. He left, and here we are, and we have to kind of continue all of that. And Daniel, I think there were a couple other students. Were you the only student, or was there another student on the
No,
committee?
there were 2 other students at the beginning, and then 1 other student with his father came in.
Yeah.
So
okay.
4 overall.
Great.
So I just moving from that presentation is especially the like soliciting student feedback part for me, and I would hope for other LSC members before we are like asked to vote on a decision in June. I personally really want to hear from people inside the school building about their thoughts on school safety. And that's like every single, you know, component of like every single person who is a part of the building. So, you know, administration, teachers, staff, and students. And so with that in mind, Daniel, I don't know if you've been able to reach out to student organizations to think through a student safety town hall, or yeah, I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot.
You know, you're fine. So I agree. Like student voice is really important in this, and I'm glad that the committee is going on. I wasn't aware of the committee, but like if students are participating, I wholeheartedly support it. And with the town hall meeting that we're having planned to get some student voice, I'm in contact with some of the culture clubs, the 3 main culture clubs at Jones. Well, for the AAC, Asian American Club, Black Student Union, Association of Latin American Students, and then Minorities Year of Impact. I'm trying to set up a meeting for something else, but I'm also gonna rope in some, see if they're willing to send representatives to come speak at the town hall meeting and just give their opinion on where things are at the moment and see what they want. Just have a wide range of student voices from different perspectives. So I'm setting up a meeting with them this weekend, if not next week, just to talk about a lot of stuff there.
Yeah. And Daniel, I'm so glad that you're involving different student groups, because it is very important to get the, you know, the voice of all students, right? Not just one group, not just one student, but all students and all stakeholders. And because this is a decision, you know, not to be taken lightly, and it needs to be made within the context of our reality, right? Because every school has a different reality. So we need to make the decision within the context of our own reality.
Yes, I agree. I think SROs are very specific, and I with CPS let LSCs aside, I was kind of on like they're kind of not like willing to make the choice, but then I realized that it really is school specific, like how Dr. Powers and Jadine Chow said in their presentations before. Jones is specifically in the middle of the city, so it has its own issues from, let's say, Lane Tech or Lindblom and any other neighborhood, right? So I wholeheartedly agree. And with other groups at Jones, I want to see if I can reach out to like probably the Jewish club or the Polish club as well and get those views. I'm not. My issue with reaching out to other clubs is I don't know. Sorry, my father. I don't know if we're gonna get perspectives from like the Red Cross Club, because there's a whole bunch of clubs at Jones. So I'm just trying to see which ones would be the most like progressive. I want to say, or like I don't want to say useful because they're all very useful perspectives, but I like if you know what I'm trying to say, like. Yeah.
You know what, Daniel, you might just want to reach out to Student Government Association as well to get like class, like not necessarily their officers, but like the class representatives, right? The class representatives, you know, yes, there's the 4 officers, but there's the class representatives. I mean, and if you even had like SGA to help you host a town hall, and then you could hear from everyone. What's your opinion? You know, what's your opinion and what are you basing that on? And I think it's just important to get everyone's voice, because I'm sure there are lots of different opinions, and, you know, there's 1,969 students or 49 students, whatever it is. And I'm sure there's probably 1,949 opinions. So we just have to make sure that we honor everyone's voice.
And in line with that, I am like thinking through like a student safety town hall. Just like there are so many, I think there are so many more perspectives that can be on the table than just like, do you support SROs or do you not? I think, you know, like ideas that people have for safety, like alternatives to safety, that's kind of what I'm interested in hearing at the student safety town hall, and just like kind of seeing, you know, what combination of like approaches to safety come through when we're able to have a conversation together, as opposed to just kind of like having it sort of be. I would hope that it's not like some sort of. I mean, I want students to lead this event, but I would hope it's not some sort of like you're pro this or you're not. You're against this. That's absolutely, you know. I don't think that conversation would be that useful or helpful. Um, That's just, but I know Roberto's saying might be helpful to partners see guidance with voice. Um, that is good. That is good to know. We should look into that. Thank you, Roberto. I
Do you have
do
like
want to
points of
add.
contact? Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I do want to add that I did talk to Denaya, the LSC student rep, and then Daniel. And May 19th at 6 p.m. is, I think I might have included this in the email to members, but May 19th at 6 p.m. was the day that seemed to work, especially in accordance with AP scheduling. Or AP exams. And so that's kind of where we're trying to build a student safety forum around. And so I think that gives us a good amount of time to loop in student orgs. Daniel, I don't want to like put all of this work on you though. And so if there's ways for us to support you, obviously this is a student event, or like I like hope that we can agree that it's a student event. And but with the like knowledge that the ideas and perspectives shared at this meeting will inform the LSC, and we'll you know, that's something that we're going to be listening to.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like envision this as we go. I kind of want to like format it around the drone safety not LSC, town hall, because that was really informative, and I feel like a lot of students participated in that, went to go view it. So I kind of want to frame it around there, and like probably have like some context that we know of already, like bring presentations from Jadine Chow, the history that you just shared, Rachel, bring that kind of like history, and then give like students the space of like you said, not like pro or con of SROs, more like what's your perspective on this, like what do you want from your own perspective and stuff like that, and not to have any like to hold a kind of a conversation, but more of just like sharing views, just so LSC can be aware of like these views exist, and these are like what the students kind of want.
And then the presentation that you just referenced, Daniel, I'm just gonna put it in the chat. We don't need to go over it, but I just kind of think it's useful to think about like the history of policing in Chicago public schools as kind of like the backdrop, and just like moving into any sort of conversation about safety. I think it's important to keep that in mind, that history in mind. But Violetta, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna add, so I was on a former COVID relief fund with Brene Green, who is leading MICLA right now. And she recently invited me to a Chicago Youth Response Team meeting where I believe it's like a cohort of students that they have through MICLA Foundation. And they're like talking through whole school safety plans and reimagining school safety. So I'm wondering if this could help with like formatting. The link isn't like copying, but this is what she sent me. So it's next Monday from 4:30 to 5:30. But if anybody wants the email, I can just forward it to you. It includes like the invite link to go. And this is all youth led. And this is the topic that they'll be covering. I don't know if that's helpful for anyone.
Yes, keep you forward that to me, Violetta, when you have a chance. Thank you so much.
Me too.
And so I know we're trying to wrap up before 7:15. And so I wanted to, Dr. Plunkett, just taking from your initiative from the end of last meeting, thought it was really helpful to kind of see where we're at and then kind of give us each actionable next steps. And so I thought we could take the last little bit to go to do that, if that's all right. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna start with myself, just because I think have a pretty good idea before our next meeting, or before May 19th actually. Hoping to kind of connect with some faculty members and kind of maybe see if there can be like point people as we're planning this safety forum, who may be able to. I personally don't feel like it's my place to be directly interacting with students, so I don't know. And I just want to have students work with someone that they trust. But that's kind of where I'm seeing my my role over the next month. And I guess Violetta, do you have anything in mind that you want to work on?
Yeah, I was being super mindful as also a teacher, and all my advisors are juniors, so I knew how stressful it was this month with the end of the third quarter and SAT. But I do want to loop back into like talking and connecting more and helping with a virtual led event for reimagining school safety. So yeah, I'm trying to give everybody around me grace. So I just sent an email to Daniel, even though I said I was going to do that last time. Yeah, so I'll reconnect with him or anybody else.
I can go next. Yeah, I totally agree, Violetta. This month has been a lot, but it's finally starting to calm down. So I'm getting my head back in the game, and I'm going to reach out to the culture club, see if like Polish club or the Jewish club at Jones are interested. See some other clubs, and that's GA, as Dr. Plunkett said. Definitely go to the meeting that Rachel shared. Not Rachel, Violetta, sorry. And then just start seeing how this is exactly gonna go.
I wanted to I saw Mr. Mitchell, you had your hand up. I just wanted to give you the floor if you want it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing. The reimagining school piece and planning the things that you guys are discussing, I think would be great conversation for the safety committee. Daniel, you were on the one previously, and there's been kind of an extension of that. I'm intending to send the email out, and I think Rachel, that Dr. Powers reached out to you about this. Yes. So I'm supposed to be doing the follow-up and kind of organizing the meetings, because we do have a plan or the opportunity to put this plan in place, because the district has, kind of laid out some timelines for us to get the committee together and start having these conversations to develop that plan. So I think there will be a space and some people to begin the conversations that you all are having. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that we can look to establish a meeting with the other members of that committee. And I don't have them all committed to my memory right now, but I'll shoot out an email to the entire committee to, I guess, kind of figure out what's a good meeting date for us. Okay.
Great, thank you so much. That's a really good update, because I was actually wondering that myself. We went over that timeline that CPS gave a little bit earlier, so that's super good to know. I'm sorry, I cut Dr. Plunkett off and Sochi off.
I guess for me, I'll be attending the meeting that Violetta shared. I think it would be good to get an idea of how they're organizing the space. And I think we've talked about this in the past, and I'm not sure, but I was wondering, have we thought about who will be facilitating? Is this something we'll be facilitating, once we have like the town hall conversations, or are we still looking for an org that can partner with us, help facilitate it? I know we wanted to make it Jones specific, but I don't know if we were going to try to collaborate with someone to do that.
That's a good question. And I did reach out to a faculty member, Peter Podlipny, kind of to talk about having faculty as like point people at the student safety forum, but kind of having it be led by students, and not like very intentionally not led by the LSC or members of the LSC. And so that is kind of where I'm hoping faculty who work with students and know student orgs, like especially the culture clubs, to kind of be in conversation with them, just so that it can be like a student-led event, as opposed to just like a, you know, an adult led event basically. But that definitely needs a little bit more fine tuning, I think.
And I guess for a follow-up question, mm, should we be inviting students that are interested, or these student activities and clubs and cultural clubs to come to like the meeting to discuss it, or?
So that's kind of yes, I think so, but I do think an invitation, I mean, I don't know if Violetta, you're going to speak to this, but I think an invitation for me, it just seems, especially because you're a teacher, Violetta, and then we also have like administrators on the call. I just think it makes a lot of sense to work with people who know students well, and that is, I'm not in that position, so I feel kind of uncomfortable. Like just, you know, Daniel, I know you pretty well, but that's pretty much Denaya and Trinity, but you know, but beyond that, I don't really, I don't know, Violetta, if you wanted to speak to that.
Oh, I wasn't going to speak to that in particular, but I agree. I like don't, I mean, I'm comfortable like sharing everything with my kids because they're my kids, and I'm also in constant contact with their families. But yeah, I don't feel necessarily comfortable like personally reaching out to students, which is why I was trying to get in contact with adults, but that's also been a little bit difficult, like adult leaders of each one. And as an adult leader of an enrichment, like it does become overwhelming. So yeah, I think we're just gonna have to rely a lot on like the youth voices and supporting Daniel as he does that, probably because he's the one that's been the most consistent during these meetings. Secondly, though, I do want to make sure that whatever the messaging is at the event, it's with the understanding that this vote is coming in June, right, on behalf of the LSC. Like we're gonna all have to come to a decision, so being very thorough and in the messaging of that, right? Like we're having these conversations about reimagining school safety because like this is going to be a decision that then impacts your school, and that the LSC needs to be informed about, like in terms of where the student body is. So I almost like I think that you all took data last time too, though, about like where students and families were in terms of, but I think like that's important for me right now, and like where students and families would land on that vote in June. So I don't know if those are two different conversations or the same one, but I'll stop.
I think they dovetail, definitely. I want to be cognizant of time, so maybe let's take like 5 more minutes. Is that okay with everyone? And then like cut off. Sochi, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna like chime in. Like I know May 19th is right around the corner, and I think would we just like I guess I'm just trying to figure out how would we inform students about the town hall? Like should we start working on a flyer already? I think it would be a good next step as well, if before we meet next time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we came up with the meeting date like a few days ago. So and I started reaching out like a few days ago as well. So this is like actually forming, coming together. But yeah, I agree with the flyer. My idea was just blasting it all over social media because that's the quickest way to reach students. Through emails, a lot of the time they just get stuck in the endless emails we get from Google Classroom and other stuff. So social media was just my way of posting it. But if you, for me, I was just gonna come up with like something on Canva maybe, but that's not always the prettiest. So if you guys, I'm not an artist at all, so I can't come up with like a nice flyer. So if any of you can come up with one, that would be like phenomenal, or I can just create one in Canva.
That's a really good idea, Daniel. And I think before doing like a social media blast, we should definitely all check in with each other about which organizations have agreed to be at this event, and just making sure that's clear. But Ms. Logan, I wanted to give you the chance to speak. I know your hand's raised.
Oh, I just wanted to mention that Daniel's part of a group that's starting, restorative justice group that was being trained through alternatives. Oh, and that Mr. Feely, Mr. Mitchell, and myself helped sponsor, and that maybe that group could help out in some way. Daniel, what do you think?
I can definitely get in contact with Kaya and see if she would be interested. I know she has like a lot on her plate. But I can definitely, and also those students overall are really good.
I
This would
agree.
probably be, yeah. So this can probably be an exercise for them to start leading stuff. So I'll definitely get in contact with them. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. And so I don't want to cut anyone off, but just kind of trying to wrap up. Dr. Plunkett, I didn't give you the chance to share next steps.
I will just work on making sure the students get an email with that link so that they are aware of everything. You know, like Daniel said that, you know, some students weren't aware, make sure we resend that. I know it's on the website, but just kind of make sure that that's shared again. And yeah, Daniel, if you need help with any of the getting the students together, creating a town hall, any of that. And then Rachel, if you want to reach out to me regarding any kind of CIWP updates you'd like me to do for the whole LSC, I think that might be something good. I don't know when would be the best time to do it because we have to meet again and update stuff. But yeah, that's it. And I mean, if I'm the last person, I would make a motion that we adjourn the meeting, if everyone's okay with that.
Sounds good. Definitely.
I second.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
That's a second.
I'm just saying sounds good. Okay,
Okay.
then.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah, thank y'all so much.
Bye-bye.
oh, we don't have to do a roll call for that, or that's just
It's just
no. Oh,
we're
okay.
good.
Not
Thank
for
you.
adjournment. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice day, y'all.